right. Turn that off. Hello out there. Hi, everybody. Oh, my hands are blurry. Weird. Hi, everybody. Aaron from Solace here, back with you for yet another Solace Office Hours. It is August 25th, 2026. Just heard a bell go off in my headphones. That's interesting. Oh, it's from a chat app I forgot to close. How are you? Hope everybody is well. It's almost the end of summer here in North America. So yeah, last few warm days we're having. I hope you're having a great summer if you live in this part of the world, and hope you're looking forward to your summer coming up and winter ending if you're down in Australia or down in the south part of the world. Anyway, for today I'm going to be joined by two very lovely colleagues to talk about the brand new upcoming recently released EA Broker MCP server. And so I'm going to welcome to the stage Wajiha and Amit. Hey guys. Oh, Amit, you're on mute. Oh, I can't hear you.
Hey everyone.
Hey, hello.
Can you? Hey.
I can hear you. Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Okay, great. Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. How are things there?
Good.
Where are you joining us from, by the way?
I'm in Ottawa, so I've been with Solace for a couple years now. And it's like you said, it's summer is ending. We can feel it in the air.
Oh, it's too bad. Yeah.
Yep, I'm in Ottawa too. I've been working with Solace for the last
I can't seem to hear him for some reason. I don't know.
I can hear him. He's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, keep
going then. Wajiha already knows all of that. So yeah, so I'm in Ottawa. I've been working with Solace for the last 2 years. It's been fun. I've been able to work on a lot of things from React to Go right now, because I worked on the broker manager side as well, and now getting to work on this cool project for using AI to operate the brokers, which is actually quite fun.
Very, very cool. So you both work out of headquarters in our Canada office in Ottawa. Wajiha, just put it on the speakers. Put it on this.
Yeah, I couldn't hear him. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what he said.
That's fine. We're just doing intro stuff here. So yeah, this is the first time I've ever had developers from Solace HQ joining my live stream. Usually it's PLM or people from the field team who have done cool demos or want to show something off or talk about some part of Solace technology. So welcome. I'm glad to have you here. I'm coming to you live from Toronto. We are live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. If you're out there and you want to say hello, put it in the chat, say where you're joining us from. Happy to have you here while we talk about today's topic, which is going to be the Broker MCP server. So what is an MCP server, guys? Can you give a quick explanation, I guess, before we...
Yeah, for sure. So like, I guess the way I understood it is an LLM on its own is not really useful, right? Because it's been trained on static data. It doesn't really have access to real-time information. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where an MCP server comes in. Like, I'm sure everyone's heard of like tools and plugins. They basically provide that external information from like a database. They pull that information from a database and provide it to the LLM, and that's where it's actually useful. So an MCP server is kind of like a standardized interface that provides and encapsulates those tools. And allows you to access like the backend APIs in a controlled manner. So it's because it's like all standard, like there's an standardized MCP protocol that MCP clients and MCP servers are supposed to follow. And as long as you're following those, like it's essentially plug and play. So it doesn't matter what client you're using. You can easily just add your MCP server to to Claude or even SAM, and you can access that information. Those tools. The
joys of standards, I guess, eh? So
exactly,
yeah. So it's kind of like an API for your LLM, for your AI, I guess, right? So
exactly,
at a very fundamental level.
The way I like to think about it is like, if I just want my LLM to talk to the broker and I don't want to, set up the custom integrations like between the broker and them and the agent, I can simply deploy the MCP server. Right. I don't have to worry about how these things are going to talk to each other. I just want them to talk. That's it.
You just want them to talk. Install your MCP server, and off it goes. It knows how to talk to your whatever endpoint you have. In which case, today is going to be a Solace broker talking over SEMP. So, hello to Running Roach. Good to see you again. Welcome back to the stream. How are things in Hong Kong? Miss the leaves turning towards the end of summer and the start. Well, we're not. Leaves are still green here, man. We're not quite there. Not quite there yet. Ranjit from, I don't know where you're joining us. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Good to have you. Hey, Harry. Welcome from the Netherlands. Good to have you. Good afternoon to you. How are things? I hope your summer heat waves are over now. So, all right, guys. So Let me hide this banner here. Let's get rid of that. So who's going to be going first? Wajiha, I think you're go first.
I'll talk a bit about our MCP server. We already gave an intro on what an MCP server actually is, but I did want to point out that I still can't hear Amit for some reason. So if you have any questions, can you, like, Aaron, can you just...
You can hear me?
I can hear you just fine. So
but you can't hear Amit.
No.
Yeah, but if he has any questions for me, or if he wants to say something, just stop me and let me know, because I can't hear him for some strange reason.
Okay. Well, when you're done your little presentation, how about you just reboot your tab, and that should probably fix your.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
So all good.
Okay.
We can ignore him for the time being. So.
Sorry, Amit.
No worries.
Right. I assume everybody else out there can hear Amit. It's just Wajiha. Shrujit from Singapore. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the stream. All right, Wajiha, I'm going to share your screen. Is that cool? All right, let's put that on the stage here. There we go.
Quickly switch to monitors, and we'll get into presenter view.
Yep.
Okay, hopefully you guys can see my screen all right.
Looks great. Yep.
Yeah. So so we'll just talk a bit about our current iteration of the MCP server. So I'm sure some of you are familiar probably with the previous MCP server that we had. So this is supposed to be like a major kind of rewrite. We added a lot of features. It's a bit more, I would say, like we have authorization, authentication, for instance, and I'll talk about all of that as we get into it.
People might not know that we did make one, like essentially a POC of MCP server about a year ago. And we did show it to some customers. So
okay. Yeah, this one is quite different from that one, because I think that one kind of exposed like all our APIs. But we really put a lot of thought into the tools. Like in this one, we kind of came up with a curated set of tools by talking to customers and doing like proper research. So it'll probably look a bit different as well. But it's production grade, and it's also going to be open. It also already is open source. I wanted to mention that too.
That's right.
Yeah. So so as I mentioned, like basically MCPs allow you to access external data. In our case, like our MCP server allows you to manage and like configure broker objects, like broker state. So jumped ahead there. So right now, I'm sure everyone's familiar. We've got like a bunch of different manual configuration steps you can use to change broker state, like create queues, create message VPNs. You can use like our SAMP APIs. You can interact with the web UI, and of course you've got the good old CLI. You just type in your CLI.
I love CLI. I'm still a heavy CLI user. I'm old school though, so
I get it. I actually worked so I forgot to mention this in the intro, but I worked on the broker config backend for a bit, and honestly I still gravitate towards using the CLI. So it's
awesome. Good for you.
But I guess like in this today's AI world, like these tools they're still good, but they're obviously they're all manual. Like you've got to interact, like do everything yourself basically. We also have Terraform. I'm not sure how many customers out there use Terraform, but this allows you to configure like multiple brokers at a time with just one Terraform config file. But again, it's code that you have to write, that you have to maintain.
Right.
And in today's AI world, like everyone's kind of, trying to get LLMs to do the work for them. So that's where MCP Server comes in. So we basically provide an interface for you to manage broker state. Simply using plain English, like natural language. So you connect to your MCP client, whichever, again, as I mentioned, it can be anything. Like it can be Claude. We've been testing with Claude primarily, but there is like you can use SAM,
Solace Agent Mesh for those people who don't know. So
right, and connect that to the MCP server, and the MCP server can actually talk to multiple brokers. So you can point it to whatever broker you want to talk to, and then that's it. Like that's basically all the setup you have to do. As long as your MCP client is following the standardized protocols, they should be able to connect just fine and maintain your brokers like with just plain English. So that's kind of the overview.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to talk a bit about the architecture that we have. So this is very high level, but just like this is kind of how the request flows in from a human operator and goes through the MCP server all the way to our Solace broker. So a couple of features I wanted to highlight. So this is kind of different from the previous MCP server. First of all, this is like a remote HTTP server. So that means that you can host it on MCP clients hosted on multiple machines can access it. You don't have to have like it's not an like a local STDIO process at all. So it's just multi-user essentially, which is pretty cool and different from the last one. And we also have, as I mentioned, authentication and authorization. So we've got that at 2 separate hops. So first you type in your request, whatever that is, like you want to maybe check broker state. That goes over the from the MCP client to our server, and that's where the first authentication happens. So here we've got disabled and static for just for developer mode. So like disabled is like no auth. Static is when you've got like a hard-coded token, kind of like a password. And OAuth is the cool bit where you can actually like have a real token validated against your IDP. And then that's the first hop. And then we also have when the broker MCP server actually uses its tools to talk to the Solace broker, that's when we have our second hop. So we've got like around 40 tools, 24 read only, 16 write tools. And when those are exercised using the SEMP-v1 APIs under the hood. And that's where the broker, like you also have to authenticate against the broker, and that's top 2 right here. So Amit's going to talk more about that.
And this list of 40, it's highly curated based on customer demand and what we see like in our own insights monitoring program, I assume. But that list is not static, right? If we have some good feedback before we go GA at the end of September, I'm assuming we can add to this list if a customer has a real use case for a particular command.
Oh yeah, for sure. So like we did a lot of research in the beginning to find out what tools seemed useful to customers, but by all means, if there's anything that you think is missing that you think would like really help you, please reach out. This is very flexible. Like we have been incorporating new tools as we see fit over the last month or so. So yeah, feedback is always welcome.
Please, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so this is a bit of an overview of the kind of tools that we have, and I've like categorized them so you get an idea of what we're touching. So as I mentioned, we've got 24 read-only tools. We've got our write-only tools, and these are roughly categorized as like either management, like configuration tools. So you're just basic your CRUD operations on broker objects. So like I mentioned VPNs, queues. So we've also got RDPs, and then the action tools are more like they're leveraging the action SEMP API under the hood. So those are more for like touching real-time state. So if you want to clear queue stats, that sort of thing, that's where that comes in. And as you can see, we were covering like a whole bunch of different objects, but yes, it's totally flexible. Like if you feel like there's some use case that would really benefit you, please do reach out. So these discovery tools specifically are like we've got a list brokers tool that shows all the brokers your MCP server is connected to. We've also got a discover SEMP schema tool that allows you to see the actual like SEMP APIs, like the fields under the hood that can be configured on a broker object.
Cool.
And the cool bit is because we know that write tools are they're destructive, like they can be a bit dangerous. So we've gated them, like they're off by default. And you actually have to use this enable write tools flag to enable them when you're setting up the MCP server.
So it's all read-only to start, just to make sure that things are, you play with it in read-only mode first, and you have to kind of turn that, opt in, I guess, too.
Yeah, you have to opt in, but like you can just do that from the get-go. Like when you set up your broker MCP server, so we've got a YAML file that I'll show in the next slide. So you can just put that flag in there if you want to have the tools enabled like from the beginning.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and if they are off, like you won't even see the write tools. You only see just the read-only tools when you list them in the MCP in Claude, for instance. And another cool thing that I wanted to mention is that like there is this flag here, but we also baked in some logic for the agent to like always prompt the user to confirm when a mutated restrictive action is going to be performed. So that's nice too.
It doesn't go off and just like change a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's like obviously not 110% guaranteed because it is an LLM under the hood and they're non-deterministic, but we do have some logic for that.
Awesome.
Quick question. We don't really say. Sorry, do you want to take the question?
You just have there.
Yeah, Amit's going to say something. So
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Wajiha would already know about that. So just for the audience, sorry, I just forgot what I was going to say. So yeah, if you want to, like, this cannot be controlled from the user side. It's mainly like whoever is setting up the MCP server has to like say whether they want to enable write tools or not. So because that involves a server restart, at least with the current setup.
Yeah.
So just wanted to highlight that.
Okay. Yep, it's part of the initial setup stuff. So, question from the Tretson from the channel. I guess I know the answer to this, but yeah, can I connect my codecs in place of Claude Code? Yes, right.
Yep.
It's any LLM, any AI that supports MCP as a protocol.
Exactly.
Should work, right?
Yeah.
We do that. All right, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's the cool part. Yeah.
What's next?
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this file that I mentioned earlier. So there's we were using this YAML file to essentially configure our MCP servers. So it's got a bunch of different fields you can edit. So for example, like the port that you want to use to connect the MCP server, the log levels, and also here are the two authentication options that I mentioned. So there is like client auth here, right? You can see that right here. This one is for clients. For the hot one for MCP clients connecting to the server, and then for the actual broker config, you can specify different authentication options for different brokers. So like here we've actually got two brokers configured with different authentication. Like one is using OAuth, one is using basic, so you have to provide a username and password. For the one that's using OAuth, you have to configure this broker OAuth section. I'm not going to go into all the details because they're in the repo, in the README. But just wanted to give an idea. And then this is the flag that I mentioned, enable write tool. So if you can set this from the beginning, and then once you start your MCP server, you'll either get the read-only list or the whole list.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I see another question from Running Roach about authentication, but we're going to save that till the second half when Amit's doing his presentation. He can cover all the. So if you have authentication questions, authorization, save it for the second half because he's going to cover that stuff. So.
Cool.
And we did also add in a bit of logic to kind of like manage the broker as well. So like, there is a field here that says max concurrent per broker. So those are the number of requests that the broker can manage per session. And that's just, trying to keep the broker from getting overloaded. So there's like a bunch of cool configuration options you can play around with here.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, I don't think this is the full list. I tried to keep it short because I don't want to overwhelm people. But
it
again,
on
the
README
is
in the slide. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of it for the slides. So
All
I
right.
wanted to do a bit of like a quick demo and show you guys how it actually works.
Live demos. While you're getting that set up, I'm just going to flash up the URL here. That it is, like we said, it is open source. It is currently EA, but you can find it down at the URL down below on a Solace Products GitHub. Just search for MCP or broker MCP, and you should find the repo. So if you want to download it right now and play with it yourself to try to manage or at least interrogate your Solace brokers, feel free. Give us some feedback. We are looking for feedback. It's an active EA. We are soliciting stuff. We are planned end of September-ish is the plan for GA. Am I correct? I think that's right.
Yeah.
So if you're like, wow, this is awesome, but it's missing this one very important thing I need, please let us know. Head over to Solace Community or talk to your friendly Solace representative to feed that back to you guys and the team for consideration. So
so hopefully everyone can see my screen and actually read what's on there. I know it's
looks great.
So here I've just got the MCP server running, and it's already connected to Claude Code, but I'm just going to show you how you. I'm sure people are aware of how to do this, but this is where you can see like all your MCP servers. You can manage them, and I can see that mine is connected. And this is actually where the authentication options come in because I'm using developer mode, so I don't have any authentication here. But this is where you'd go to actually set up OAuth and everything. And you can also see our tools here. As I mentioned, we've got 40 tools. So these are some examples of the action tools we've got. Then we've got a whole bunch of read-only, write tools, like configuration tools. And I'm just going to show you those in action. So let me go back. So let me just make sure my stuff is up. Yep. So I'm going to ask it like straight up, like what brokers can you manage for me? And the scenario that I wanted to kind of demonstrate was like, imagine you've got a retail company with its order processing pipeline running on Solace brokers. And you wake up one morning and the ops team finds out that customers are not receiving confirmations, and this is kind of a scenario where the MCP server could help you diagnose the issue without you having to go into the CLI and read all the logs yourself. Okay. So right now it mentions US East one. That's the broker that I had.
That's the name of your broker. All right.
Sorry.
I know where it's running. I don't know what.
It's not. It's
like
not
eStore
really
something. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just for the demo. I don't want it to make it sound authentic, so I think it did the job.
Sure.
Yeah. So we can ask like what message VPNs around the broker and what are the message rates. So I believe it's gonna, so it's cool. Like it, you know, you can just type it in natural language and it knows what tools to pull as well. Like it's gonna use the list VPNs tool. It's also probably gonna use the get message rates tool that we have. Yeah. So it's gonna do it twice because we've got two VPNs on here, the default and the orders VPN. So the one thing I did want to mention is that we don't have logic baked, like we don't have like Solace logic, like diagnostic logic baked into the MCP server. A lot of this, the information you see here is just from the LLM itself, because that's what an LLM does. So so this part, like it's gonna try to make its own, draw its own conclusions, and those could be wrong. But as far as providing information goes, like that's, you know, that's what our tools are doing. So it mentions that we've got a backlog building on one of the queues.
Yeah, egress is 0.
Sorry.
Egress is 0. I see ingress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Egress is 0. It's getting some discarded messages, so we can look into that as well. And it's helpfully offering to dig into the queues further, so we can do that. I'm going to ask if any queues are discarding messages. So far these are all like the read-only tools.
7 queues. Oof, that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. So saying that, you know, like there's, yeah, we have ingress, we don't have any egress, obviously, so there's a backlog built up. So it's, and it also offers a solution helpfully that order intake needs a bigger spool quota or it's consumer unblocked. So we can try that. We can try up in, yep.
So the MCP server doesn't like say anything around like egresses, discards are bad, or queues filling up is bad. Like that's all the LLM just knowing how.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Very cool.
So it's just like, it's literally just like sorry, I think it was list queue discards. I don't know if you can call it directly, but the tool that it uses is list queue discards, and then all that logic that you see on the screen is literally just the LLM making up stuff as it goes. But I mean, and most of the time it's right? Like LLMs can guess correctly, but just to say that, you know, it's not deterministic. Sometimes it can be wrong. So don't always take its word for it.
Yeah, so I think the job of the tool is mainly to give the.
Hold on a second. Amit's saying something. So
okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you have to coordinate. Sorry. So I'm just saying the job of this tool is mainly to give the LLM access to the data, so it can, you know, reason about it, like what's wrong, what's good, like what actions you can take. But yeah, you can definitely build skills around them, and we are planning to do so. Right. So that hopefully will be coming soon.
Right. Skills seems like the kind of the right place to kind of
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's the point he wanted to make. Just a quick shout out. Hey, Mark. Good morning from Florida. Hello. How you doing? Question from Running Roach. In terms of that per broker throttle, is there any separation of appliance versus VMR? Like, can you configure those separately, or are those treated kind of the same? It's the same for all brokers that we connect.
I believe this is mostly for VMRs. Amit can correct me if I'm wrong, but like even the Solace APIs we're using under the hood, they're all VMR. Like they're all for the VMR.
Well, I mean, 90% of this attempt calls are all the same, right? It would be like a few extra things like show hardware.
Yeah, exactly.
Show system health. And I'm sure if those are not in there as part of this initial EA, those could be easily added, because we do have a lot of customers with a lot of hardware appliances that they would love to kind of monitor and manage this stuff. So
it does work with both. It's just that the throttle settings, the throttle settings, they're not like today they are not per broker, or you cannot really differentiate.
It's a blank. It's a global setting for all. Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
That's a really good thing. Yeah. We can think about.
So just wanted to show one more thing here. So like I asked it what the spool quota is for the orders intake, and then it uses this get QMetrics tool here to get that information for me, and then you can try increasing it to see if that helps. Yeah. So it's gonna say it's 5 MB. It's completely full.
And nobody's bound to it either.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like offering me a solution to like bump the max message spool usage.
Yeah. Now, people may or may not know, but like, yeah, increasing your spool, max spool usage for a queue is a very quick and easy way to get yourself unstuck, at least temporarily. You don't have to shut down the queue. So, you know, if you need an extra hour to get your consumers back online, this is a very common way that admins will kind of just like prevent the broker from getting stuck, because once that queue fills up, your publishers start getting knacked, which means your whole production flow kind of gets blocked, right? So
yeah, like it's not the right solution, but it's like a good a quick one.
Yeah. 1500. Wow, it really wants to bump up it wants to bump it up from 5 to 1500. Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. Like this is it's kind of different from like the previous, like if you notice, like when it was asking me to confirm whether I wanted to run a tool call, that was just like Claude kind of doing its like, you know, manual edits. But this is the actual logic that we've kind of added in, where it confirms that I want to actually perform that mutative action. So it's saying, okay, this is a live config, right? Like, are you sure you want to do this? You know, please confirm. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Could you say instead, like, that's too much, just bump it up to 100 megs or something? I mean,
I could totally do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could ask it like 1500 meg was my idea. So
well, that's the default queue size on new queues, right? At least on the software broker.
So here it's actually going to call the update queue tool, as you can see.
While that's thinking, Ranjit has a quick question here. If I have multiple VPNs, how can I get data from a specific one? I think you just ask about it, right? So
yeah.
So
you could just specify the name of the VPN in your request. I could just ask like, what's the status of the default VPN, for instance? Because we didn't really look at that one.
Should be shut down if it's a good production system. Never use your default VPN in
exactly. Yeah.
It's healthy.
So it doesn't really have anything.
Oh, it's enabled. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so you just have to like mention the name of the broker object, and it can manage multiple broker objects for you. Of course, like restricted to the tool set that we actually have available. Like I said, we're not doing everything, but yeah, VPNs are obviously a big one.
Another question around audit trail goes into the events or command log. Yes, every config command on Solace Brokers automatically goes into the command log. So, so everything that this tool is doing would be getting logged in the broker's command log as well. But which user it would be, I guess that ties back into our authentication part.
Exactly, yeah. So we actually have, that ties into the authentication and authorization that Amit's going to talk about. Plus, we have an observability feature coming in soon. So you'll be it's actual observability on the MCP server itself. So you should be able to trace like the request all the way to, you know, what it did in the broker.
The MCP.
I can definitely give a quick answer.
Telemetry. Okay, go for it, Amit. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, we do have a robust logging in our MCP server, and yes, we don't use generic IDs. You'll actually get to see we don't also expose the user's credentials or details from their token, but yes, there are the user's ID will be logged in. We did some research as to what is safe to log, as to what is not. But yeah, you'll be able to see who did what and were they allowed to do this tool, or were they denied, and for what reason. So that kind of logging is there in the MCP server.
Awesome. All right, thank you for that.
So I'm just gonna ask it like what the queues look like right now.
Sure. Now did you do it for just one queue, or because there were 7 queues?
Just for one for now, yeah. Just gonna call that. You'll use out this queues tool again.
So I guess once you trust it, you could put it into auto mode, or you could put it into stop asking me about these read-only commands. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it looks pretty good. Well, I guess that one still has the. I guess it's highlighting that there's no consumer, so eventually it's going to run into that quota again. And this one also has the egress is false, so even if a consumer was connected, nothing will be delivered. So that's also a quick and easy fix. You can just flip that flag. So one thing I wanted to mention, actually,
it'd be cool if you could say when was it disabled? Like when was egress disabled? But that would involve crawling through the command log, and that's probably a bit. That's probably not what this tool is built for. So
yeah. Well, in this case, I know exactly when it was disabled. It was when I set up the demo. So
sure.
yeah. So let's enable egress for order process. And again, it's asking for confirmation.
Yeah.
So one thing I did want to mention is that, like, if you go into the tools description, you can kind of, we haven't listed out all the SEMP tools available, like all the fields available to us that are configurable, obviously, because we don't want to flood the context. But it does have access to like all the fields that the SEMP APIs expose. So you might not see them written there, but you can leverage them. Like you can access them. And if you want to see those fields that are configurable, that's where the Discover SEMP schema tool comes in that I mentioned earlier. It provides you that information.
So you guys were already thinking about how to like maintain, like minimize your context usage, token usage, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all available to you if you do need to get into that level of detail for some specific.
Exactly. Yeah.
So cool.
And also, like, we've added some filtering because, like, a queue object is huge. It can have so many attributes, right? So we try to select only the most important fields when we extract that information. Again, not to flood the context. And then all that little bit helps.
Sure, especially if you have hundreds or thousands of queues, then you definitely don't want to be like, here's one queue and then times whatever. So
yeah. So yeah, that's kind of it. Like, I just wanted to demonstrate like how we can find a problem, diagnose it, fix it,
talk to your broker.
Yeah, in plain English.
Yeah, very cool. Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
Amit, are you want to show you want to do a demo on authentication? We do have some more. Yeah, we got some questions on that. All right.
We do have some introduction slides for that, but yeah, I'll definitely do a demo.
A few slides. Wajiha, do you want to just reload your tab so you can hear Amit? And
it'll be nice to hear Amit.
Come back in a second. All right. So Amit, I'm going to share your screen. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. I can see it.
Feels I'm ready. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. So yeah, because we have we're enterprise grade broker and enterprise clients, this kind of like authentication, OAuth, basic, all these kind of things are very important to them. So I'm happy that we're going to be doing a specific section on this, and maybe we'll get a few more questions. So, all right.
Yep. So Wajiha is back. So yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right.
Sorry about that.
All good.
So, okay. Yeah. So let me directly start with, why this MCP server even need a security story in the first place. So the tools in this MCP server, they perform, control plane operations that we just saw, like things like creating a queue, deleting one, and many other operations. So now those operations can be run directly by someone. Like you can just use the CLI, or they can also be run through some automation, like you can have Terraform doing it for you. But either way, it's like some person who's deciding in advance like what would run, and it's the code that does what it is like returned to do. But with an MCP server, that changes a lot. Now somebody who's making a request in plain language, and then the model comes into the picture where it works out its own reasoning and decides which tools to call and in what order, and we just saw a demo of that. And the MCP client or the LLM then kind of goes and makes those calls. So the decision really of what runs is kind of being made by the model. Now, you can tell the model what it should do and should not do. Like you would put that either in your prompt or in some sort of an MCP client configuration. And that does work to some extent. But then think about who's actually writing these kind of prompts. It's either there are some of the scenarios that I've been seeing these days. It's in some teams, there is one agent that somebody set up and then it's shared with everyone else. And in many other teams, it's, let's say, everybody is writing their own prompts and maintaining them, and they have their own MCP client. So there is really no single place where all these instructions live, and there is no guarantee that any two people are going to write the same ones with the same guardrails.
Right.
So either way, it sits on currently all of the control is kind of on the MCP client side, like on the user, which means an admin really doesn't get a lot to control, like how the user or their agent is going to use this MCP server. So if a control needs to hold, it has to be enforced on the MCP server, like if you want to do it deterministically, like all the time. And that really gives us two questions, and they come at different points, actually. That's what we call hop 1 and hop 2, like in this case, boundary 1 and boundary 2. And the first one really happens when the agent, like it comes up with a request to the MCP server, and the MCP, it connects to the broker MCP server. Then you can use Solace Agent Mesh, you can use Claude, anything that speaks MCP, or even Codex for that purpose. And what we need to know at that point, like at boundary 1, is mainly like who is the scholar and like which tools are they allowed to use. Like the second bit, like which tools they're allowed to use, that's kind of optional. You have to turn it on. So that's not always on, even if you're using OAuth. And whoever talks to the broker, like whichever target broker, because it is multi-user, multi-broker, it can talk to multiple brokers. So you have to definitely specify which broker. And that's where the second bit comes in, where now it also needs, it needs a token where it can, send it along with that request. And one thing to be clear about is that the broker, like it does exactly what it does today. Nothing changes on its side. It runs its own authentication, its own authorization on every request. And our MCP server and its authentication and authorization mechanisms, it kind of sits in front of it, like rather than replacing it. So just like to be clear about it.
So by default, I guess we'd recommend that, it's always the MCP server is acting as the user. Like I pass in my credentials and it's passing that to the broker versus having some kind of centralized, just for traceability, I guess, in the logs. You want to see who's making what changes.
Yeah, it mainly depends upon like what environment you have. Like, is it actually my next slide is kind of going to talk about it.
Okay.
So let's see if that covers your question.
Sure.
Okay, so we have, like Wajiha already gave a brief about it. Like we have two options. One is no auth or static token, which is kind of, they fall into the same category of less secured setup. And then second is OAuth, which we recommend for production environments. And let's say like there's a scenario like your team is using a set of brokers for development and testing, and those brokers, they kind of sit inside a closed network where you don't really want to do all the hassle of setting up an authorization server just to try out this MCP server, maybe, because that's a lot of setup anyways. So there are these two simpler modes, like no auth or static token, and the first one kind of like it turns client authentication off completely, like if you're using no auth. And the second one is where you have a fixed token that the MCP client, like you've shared it with all your users and they all are presenting the same token. So this works for
basic authentication. User password is also supported, right? For Luddites like me.
So in that case, so like I said, there are two places that authentication really comes into the picture, like the
right. This is to the MCP. Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Keep going.
This is happening between the MCP client and the MCP server.
Right.
So how the MCP client is going to authenticate to the broker MCP server.
I guess you can think of the static token as kind of a username password. I mean, kind of. Yeah.
I was thinking on the broker side, which is hop 2. So I'm already getting ahead of myself. So
yes. So again, the first one, no auth and no static token, is mainly for development and testing, and we don't recommend it for production at all because you lose all the traceability for like who did what. So that's the real trade-off because of that. And then there's this other path, which is OAuth. So again, you have brokers that are critical for operation. You should use OAuth. It works with whatever identity provider you have. We have built it to work according to the spec. So nothing like the fancy that we did. It's all according to the OAuth spec. So tokens get validated on the way in, and then we have something called token exchange. So we don't really reuse the same token. We kind of exchange it to get a new token. And that's also add towards the robust traceability that you get from like all the logs. Yes, and then I have this second slide actually but did that answer your question? I'm sorry, I forgot your question.
Don't worry about it.
No?
It was the wrong question anyway. So.
Okay. So the next one is like I'm giving a brief overview, like how the agent finds its way in. So again, this is all happening in hop 1, where we're trying to authenticate the agentic application and its MCP like tool called request. So if you have OAuth enabled, every request will carry a real user's identity. It will carry a token. and that comes from whatever identity provider you already run. So there is no user list, nothing that the MCP server maintains, or no credentials that it needs to know about the users. And the flow is like how it works on the screen. Request comes in, and then if it doesn't have a token in the first request, it's just the first request. Maybe the agentic app is it's the first time it's connecting to the MCP server. It's not going to have a token. So we turn that request back and we say 401 with details like where you can find the authorization server. So obviously those details you have to provide us in the config file that Wajiha just showed, and which our MCP server uses to guide the agentic application. And then the app then goes and initiates the login flow. The user enters their credentials, the app gets the token back, and then it resends the request with this new token. And then at that point, the broker MCP server job is to validate that request and to determine whether this can be allowed or not, if the token is valid or not. And then this is the two-hop mechanism. So now we have the validated request from the MCP client, like the validated token. And now our server, like MCP server, has to actually talk to the broker. And remember, like this server can be configured with like multiple brokers. So the client is asking for a specific one, like you have to, in the request, you have to tell it like which broker. If you don't tell it, the agent is kind of going to like keep asking you, because that's, or else if it sends the request without a target broker, we kind of reject it right away. So we need that as it's a required parameter for every tool call. Okay. Now the question like worth asking here is like, what do we need like from you to like make that work? And the answer is really nothing. You do not have to change anything on your brokers. Each broker still, again, does its own authentication authorization checks like it does now. And there was this other alternative which we could actually, like it was much easier to do, which is token pass-through. But the problem with that is like, is what it comes with the token from the last slide. Like when the MCP client gets a token from the authorization server, it's actually meant for us, like the MCP server.
Right. That makes sense.
And we cannot really forward it. I mean, we can, nothing is stopping us, but the broker has then two things to do. Either it can reject that token right away, saying it's not meant for me, or else you'll have to relax the checks on your broker, which we don't want, right? If it's really critical for operation. So that's why we went ahead with token exchange, and the MCP spec actually recommends that, like we do token exchange instead of token pass-through. So what we do is we validate the token that came in, and then we exchange it for a new one. And that new token has the target broker as its audience. So then we use that token to make the call with that specific broker. And so you can really see on it on both the panels. Like on the left is the second hop, is where you would do it the same token and the token pass through to the server which we don't want. Okay. Yeah. So I hope this is clear.
That's clear.
It's a little difficult to explain. I'm trying my best.
No, it's cool. I mean, OAuth is something I'm not very familiar with, but it does make sense that you would want a token specifically for the broker, and the MCP server is smart enough to go out and kind of grab that for the broker as part of the authenticated call to it, right? So that's cool.
Right.
If you did have, say you had 3 brokers in your mesh, and you said specifically that you have to say which broker you want to operate on, can you not tell the LLM, give me the top 10 queues on all 3 brokers, and it would do 3 different authentication connections, or do you have to ask one by one?
So you can ask it it can do it. It can fire maybe multiple agents to do that request for each broker. And that authentication between the MCP client and the MCP server happens just one, when you connect the MCP server to the maybe SAM or to Cloud Code. And then our broker, like our MCP server, will kind of do the token exchange request for each broker, and it will get a token for each individual broker. So it won't
make sense.
Like reuse any other broker's token.
Cool.
Yep. So that's there. Let's see what else I have to say. So yeah. So far, like all of this is about identity. Like we're just validating the user, but knowing who somebody is doesn't really put any limits on what their model can decide to do. And we already know these models are really capable of doing a lot of things and really quickly. And so there's a real difference there. Like let's say if you write a SIMP call, you have chosen that operation, right? Through an agent, you asked for an outcome, and the model kind of worked out which tools to use to get to that result. So the question is not like what a person is allowed to do. It is what a model is allowed to do on their behalf. I mean, for the MCP server, like the broker anyways decides what the person is allowed to do and what not to do. So the broker will reject if you don't have your permissions to do a specific operation.
Okay.
So right now, let's say anyone who gets through any, right now anyone, let's say they call any tool on the server because there is no RBAC right now. It's off by default. You have to on it specifically for an environment. And for plenty of environments, that is fine. Maybe you don't need it. But you might be happy to know, like, if your model actually, it stopped before creating or doing something because it wasn't allowed to do that. And so that is what this one is. So it is optional. It comes with only OAuth mode. Like if you're in the dev mode or any other mode, this is not possible because we really need the user's token to do these authorization checks and enforce them. So on the left there, like let's say you have the your admin who creates roles in your identity provider, and then in the middle we have the MCP server. And the only config you need to do is you have to map those roles to the tools, like specific tools. Like it is per tool. Like you can specify this role gets access to these 5 tools, or this role gets access to only read tools, and this role, like admin role, gets access to all the read and write tools.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can do it really like per tool basis. And so if you actually look at the middle column, each role is just, again, a list of tool names. So that's what I'm just saying. And these two happen to, in this case, like the split is like fairly clean because that is what's suited for this example, like the demo I'm going to do. And that's really the point there. Like we do not decide which operations are sensitive in your environment because you know it much better than us. And this is like checked on our side on every call. So it does not really matter like what the model was told to do or what somebody put in the prompt. If the role does not grant that tool, the call will be refused before it ever reaches the broker.
Right.
And like none of this really changes what the person can do directly against the broker. Maybe Aaron, you can still go and write that SEM call and you can still make the changes directly yourself. But this is mainly like, if I'm the admin, I don't trust you, maybe, using the agents, I can just say your agent is not going to do this.
I'm very trustworthy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And just in case.
Yeah. I see you have delete message VPN listed there. Like that's a dangerous operation. I would definitely make sure admins are doing that and maybe not support, or neither. Yeah, nobody can do it actually.
Maybe nobody.
That's God mode. So yeah.
I just wanted to mention, like, as I demonstrated in my during my demo, like it does ask for confirmation from you, but again, you're not sure, right? So this is kind of a level up from that, where if you want to be absolutely 100% sure that no one's going to be allowed to do something dangerous like delete a message VPN, then this is exactly what you need.
Cool.
Yep. So let's do a demo actually.
Before we get into the demo, there's a couple of questions sitting here as comments, and I want to go through them. I was kind of letting you finish your slides and stuff, but we have a few comments I want to kind of work through. So Running Roach here, just thinking ahead a bit, some sort of try me functionality built into the MCP so that I provide a few paths and it auto checks them. So you're thinking of actual live messaging. I doubt that that's not the focus of this particular MCP server, right? This is all SEMP based stuff. This is all on the management side, but it wouldn't be hard to build a little pub sub ping pong type, either a server, probably an MCP server, I guess, because it's just a different API, via messaging API, right? Yeah. So, and I'm sure someone in Solace has already coded that on the weekend or on a hackathon or something. But yeah, we don't. I mean, I'm speaking for you guys, but I would assume we don't feel that belongs in this particular thing. Yeah. But it could, or I mean, I think the better place would be a separate little MCP server.
Yeah, we're trying to keep this one very focused because the main problem that we saw with the first one was like if we start adding many tools to it, the agent really starts hallucinating a lot, and you don't really get dedicated results like what you want. And if you're thinking of automating that, then it just becomes a problem.
Okay. Next question. I'm not even reading this until I push them up. When deploying Solace enterprise-wide, what concurrency, caps, throttling, queuing mechanisms protect broker performance from accepting? Well, so yeah, there is that kind of global max SEMP calls. Yeah, and so that's what exists today. And maybe as we get more usage in the field from some of our larger enterprise customers, we might refine that a little bit further, like kind of build more advanced smarts into there to help with that. But yeah, there is a global per server, per MCP server,
right,
concurrent commands, right?
And as I mentioned, there's also some filtering we applied where we're not returning all the queue fields, for instance. So that also helps. But yeah, I think it's like under the hood, we're still kind of we're still leveraging SNAP APIs, right? So we can't really do more. We're limited by them, by their capabilities. But yeah, no, depending, like as you said, if there is a lot more use cases where people want to be able to do like expensive queries, then we could definitely look into trying to find solutions to that. Right.
Yep. Another question. It's not a very long question. Multi-user data fetching tasks? ? I don't. Do you guys understand quite exactly what Abhishek is asking for? Like, I'd assume it's maybe can data be shared between multi-users if multiple users ask for the same thing? Is that possible? But
so if I'm asking for something, it's a isolated request. It's just belongs to me, so it's going to come back to me. Wajiha is asking the same thing. That is going to be a second route, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood. Abhikash, if you have a more detailed ask there, just please put it up there. Last one here. Running Roach, what would limit us to key cloak or token based? Can't really do solely LDAP?
Yes.
That would limit us to, yeah.
True. We are going to think about LDAP, but again, it comes to really like how much comments we get on the community post. If people really have a use case, we'll make sure we'll try to incorporate.
I can tell you just from my customers, like that run mostly appliances in on-prem and in colo, that most of them are just starting to think about OAuth as their authentication mechanism. It's all still certs, LDAP, kind of, and basic, especially in test and dev. So FYI for the thing. So yeah, Running Roach, thanks for the comment. We will be thinking about that as we move towards GA for sure. So. All right, should we do a demo? Another live demo? Let's see if it goes as smoothly as.
OAuth is always tricky. I just make my tokens don't.
No pressure, Amit.
Fire midway.
Live demo, baby.
Let's see. Yeah, so basically, I have these two windows. I hope they're visible. Yep. It's just two terminals open side by side. So I've kind of treating these as two different users with different sets of permissions. So. For this, my MCP server has a role-based access control turned on. So I have this really comprehensive.
Zoom in a little bit on that one. That's a bit small.
Okay, let's try now.
Oh yeah, great.
That's good.
That's better.
Yep.
Okay, so so I have enabled tool authorization. So again, it has to be under the OAuth mode. Tool authorization set to true. Filter tools list. I'll come back to this, but then. This is where the role-based access control comes in at the tool level. We have, as an admin, I've defined this role, platform admins, and then I've said like, okay, you get access to these set of tools, and then I've created another role, and I said, okay, you can only do monitoring things, like you can just read data to do some sort of analysis, but you cannot do anything more than that. So that's what we're going to see in action. So on the left-hand side is a user who's part of that admin's role. So if I do MCP again and Broker MCP, which is my MCP server, I'm already authenticated, view tools. And then as you can see, I have 38 tools. Maybe I missed 2 tools, but that's okay. The point that I want to make is like this user can do a lot of things, like they can change the state of the broker. So, and on this side, this is a user belonging to the application support team. So he is only allowed to just, read the tools, like get data. So as you can see,
22 tools.
22 tools, right? So the good thing is the LLM doesn't even know about it. So it's not even going to, make an attempt to do something. It will just clearly say like, I don't have access to do that thing. So this user can only do all sorts of monitoring operations. And we'll try to see that in action now. So what I'm going to say is, get me the list of brokers first, we'll keep it simple. We'll fire the same request for both the users. Both.
Are you using the same broker for your demos, or let's see?
No, like Wajiha and I.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're actually like, it's running locally.
Yeah.
Different. Okay. I wanted to do that, but I did not want to get into the VPN issues.
Yeah.
It's my So both basically can see 3 brokers, local basic. So yes, one important thing. When you even in OAuth mode, if one of the broker, like it's a test broker, you don't really care about it. I don't know. I have a lot many instances that I don't really care about. So I just want to use basic auth for them, but there are some for which I want to use OAuth. So that kind of configuration also works. So you don't really like, it's not like when, it's not like that enforcement doesn't happen at the server level. You can control it at broker level.
Okay. And is that just the host name or the router name of the broker? So
it's actually, so in the config file,
oh, you specify it here. This is the name, the pretty name for this particular broker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You can use whatever name you want.
So you can specify the brokers that you have. So prod US is the name that we gave it. That's the URL and everything. And as you can see, you can tell the mode, the audience to expect. And then, that's the local basic, which is using just the username and password.
Cool.
So coming back to this, I'm just going to ask it to get me the list of VPNs because I don't know which ones I have on prod US. And
sure.
Let's just, this will work for both. Get me, oops, I'll just ask it to go ahead. And the good thing is like all this description, it's again baked into the tools. So the LLM can really get, fine grained, like, okay, what this tool is useful for and how to use it. The list of, okay, it's too fast. It's not even letting me finish. Oh.
Because it's open source, like, is it possible that like I could download this thing and go in and tweak some of the stuff like that, that I know I want in my particular thing and then just load that into my Claude?
That's what we want.
Okay.
That's why we did it open source.
Cool.
Play with it. We like to play with it. We just
not just to see it, but to actually like tweak it, I guess. So
yeah.
I like the little green safe button.
Oh yeah, I've baked it into. I mean, that's something that I've done on my side, just to be safe from doing, Okay, so
danger.
Yeah. So I have test VPN on both the brokers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to just delete test VPN 2. Can you delete the operation that Aaron did not wanted me to do? So delete test VPN 2. Let's see if it has access to that. It should. Can you delete?
Ooh, caution.
It's good that it's waiting for me on the left side while I'm doing something here. I don't want it to just run autonomously. Can you delete test VPN 2? Okay, confirm you want to proceed. Yes. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, but now the second guy is gonna be like, I've never heard of test VPN 2. Oh no, he comes back.
Which one? Right. Like the one on the right?
Yeah, the one on the right. I thought he was gonna be like, I can't even see that VPN. I guess I didn't query for it again.
Well, it did get got the test VPN 2 because it was able to. Yeah. So the first tool call was to get the list of VPNs, but now in the second one it says it doesn't have a delete VPN tool. I cannot really do anything, right? So,
but these are the same brokers, though, right, Amit?
These are the same brokers.
Okay.
So if you said list now on the right, it would say, oh, there's only 2 VPNs now, right?
Yeah.
Yep, list VPNs for prod US. Yeah, because the operation on the left one actually, it completed. So it should show only 2.
Better. Otherwise, hey, all right. I didn't actually notice that test VPN 2 is gone. It's like, oh,
yeah,
good job, LLM.
It's gone. It's just default on test VPN.
Yep.
So yeah, that's really what I wanted to demo is like
left and right.
The difference in left and right, and actually the kind of control that you can enforce is like, it depends on your environment. We did not want it to enforce our, we started thinking maybe we'll have a differentiation into read and write, but then we really rethought like maybe this is us defining the security posture of somebody else's environment, and let's just not do it. let's give them control on the tools. Because I also got to know like there can be some tools that, you know, even though they are read only, that's just an expensive operation, right? Their broker is too busy, I guess. So maybe they don't want everyone to do that query. So this is what gives more control.
And is that big list of tools that you had there, that the same config file as for that Wajiha showed at the beginning there? Just like where my brokers are, and like that's all. So it's one big YAML file for the whole MCP server. Okay.
Yep, that's one big YAML file.
Okay. So okay. Very cool. All right.
Yeah. There's just works. One more thing. Yes, it works. I know we're
getting close on time. Yeah, we're pretty much done. But
just
go ahead, one more thing.
Small slide that I wanted to talk about. I know there's going to be a follow-up, maybe podcast with you, Aaron. So far we covered who is calling and what their model is allowed to do. And there's just one more question. Like after that is like, which is, you know, what did it actually do? Like you want to know that, right? And that question really comes up quickly once agents are like operating on your brokers. And if somebody like asks you maybe sometime next week, like what was changed and who asked for it, and you know, you want to give a straight answer, right? That it was this user who did this operation, and or it was this user's LLM who did this operation. So you just go to the MCP Server's logs, get these metrics, and you can put into your whatever observability tool that you're using. So I think it uses OpenTelemetry. I don't really have a lot of details on this because this is currently in active development, but yeah, we'll soon come up with a demo for this one.
But I mean, like most of our like enterprise customers, they have their logging, their command logging going somewhere that's probably mineable anyway, right? Like into Splunk or Elastic, and they could easily just have another tool go and pull all that data out as well. So it's cool that we're doing it, but you know, they might already have some way to address that particular concern.
Yeah, I think you can simply plug whatever the tool they have, like Splunk or anything, to this MCP server, and it will, you know, pull that logs out of this, and you can see it on your dashboard, like one more tab maybe. That's really all I had to demo today.
All right. Well, I think that is perfect timing to wrap up. You know, we hit it basically right on the mark. Look at that, 1 hour and 2 minutes. That is great. Thank you everybody out there for your comments. I hope you enjoyed. I mean, more comments here? No, good for now. If you want to learn more about it, there's the URL. I put it back up on the screen. It's on our Solace Products GitHub repo. Just Google Broker MCP, you'll find it. And also head over to Solace.community if you have a question about it, want to raise it. We'll make sure it gets to you guys, or talk to your local Solace representative, or I don't know, send a ticket to support. We'll make sure that gets routed to the right way, even though it's not a supported product yet. It will be. So it is, we are looking for active feedback, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you both for coming and showing this off. I hope you had a good time. I mean, I'm sure you've shown it off a couple times, and so hopefully this was a cakewalk for you. Any last comments before we close out the stream here?
No, thanks so much for having us. It was a lot of fun. And as we've said a couple of times, if anyone has any specific requests, please do reach out. We're still developing, so you never know. Will you incorporate your feedback?
Exactly.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Influence the product. Yes.
Yeah.
Try it, use it. Let us know how you like it. So yeah. Amit?
Yep. No, this is really good. I really like the questions, like especially the per broker config settings. So we'll really think about it. It was something like actually I came up like, I mean, I was preparing for this demo. I thought about this, but yeah, there was something really interesting. Maybe this was my first one with you, Aaron, like office hours, but they're really interesting actually. So
it's nice to get live feedback.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Live feedback. That's one of the cool things. People can ask right to you, and that's the benefit for them too. So being able to tie in directly to Solace people and ask them live on air puts you on the spot. So you guys did great. Thank you for doing that. Thanks everybody. I will see you next month. I think it's going to be all about our new Solace Agent Mesh release. Stay tuned for that. Details coming soon. Thanks guys. We'll see you, see you in a bit.
Thanks so much.
All right. Toodaloo.
Take care.